Hey everybody, I've been playing Path of Exile 2 for a couple of hours, and I wanted to share with you my early impressions and some of the tricks about the game that I started to learn after playing for a little while that may help you as you start out in this new journey for this new game that's currently in early access. I know those dreaded words, early access and beta, where me, the consumer, is paying money to play a game that's not done yet so the developer can get that input and try to improve the game for other people. It's all right. Why? Because Path of Exile 1 was so successful, I decided to jump on the hype train along with everybody else that is a fan of action RPGs. So here we are. I've been playing a witch for a couple of hours. Let's jump in and show you guys how the game works right off the bat, right off the rip. As you dive deeper and deeper into the world, the enemies will become harder, that's for sure. But this is where you have to really use the systems that are in front of you to maximize the potential of what you have as a character and what path you want to take. I noticed that there was kind of two pathways that I was going down as a character, whether more summoning abilities or spell power. I was a mix of both at first, but I decided to lean further into spell power. And to help you is to talk to these vendors here. You got Una. She'll show up in some of the campaigns. And the items that she sells by the seashore, can increase your spell damage. This one I purchased, I believe. I have something close to it in my inventory. Okay, increase spell damage, gain 2 mana per enemy killed. That's a level 6 with a level 3 Chaos Bolt. This is a level 2 Chaos Bolt. So I think that's what I sold to her. Yeah, that's what I remember. So once I was able to get this item, boom, I was doing a lot more damage. Same with the gloves. I didn't have any gloves drop for a long time, so I went and talked to Renly. Renly has gloves for sale, and you'll find them over here. Boom, and just try to find the one that's dependent on your class. I always know that I'm using an energy field when it comes to defense, so for me, that's what I picked up. So keep an eye out for these vendors at the beginning of the game, and you're going to have to save your gold. These items cost around 400 plus. And that way you're able to kind of experiment and see which path you want to go down. Because at first, when you look at the skill tree, you're like, what? All these passive abilities, which route do I take? Well, for me, I started to go down this route of adding on more intelligence, but then I started to see I wasn't doing enough damage out there in the world, so I went down the 8% increase of damage for the minions and for spells, and I've gone down this road a little bit, and I'll keep going down this road. So it's intimidating at first because there's so much information, but if you just try to go down a road, try a different item, and experiment a little bit, you will see the difference out there in the field. And that way you can decide if you want to go down that specific route or try something else. And you can always have your backup items here, your backup build, and you can switch this out. I'm on console, so I switch the switch out button to hold L2 and then press square, and that way I can easily switch between my weapons. So the main hub is really important. You can use a town portal to get here at any time, but as you start to go through inventory management, like most action RPGs, the items that drop aren't for you. Sell them until you have enough gold to buy the items that you need to fill in the different areas for your character. Then after that, you can disenchant. I have not disenchanted an item yet, but I know it's available, and I'll start to now that every item's pretty much filled out that I can purchase. There's one other option for purchasing, but this is gambling with Finn. And you can purchase an item with random abilities. I did buy a pair of gloves, and they were these. So 2 to 4 fire damage to attacks and gain 6 life per enemy killed. I mean, it's all right, but it's not really pushing into the build that I want. So I'll keep an eye out for some better gloves. So there's a starter area. Don't be afraid to use this area as many times as you need. And we take a look at the waypoint here. I'll show you how much I've unlocked so far. So we got the Clear Fell encampment all the way through the forest. Now notice on this map here, let's go ahead, it'll disappear for a second. Notice on this map, there's a skull on the right that's still highlighted. I believe I have not killed the boss monster, if you will, of that area, or there's 2 of them, and I've only taken down 1, but I haven't gotten the other. So I can come back here and play this area and take out the enemies here and get that boss. But I'm currently at a Cemetery of the Eternals. Now what's important about going to these different areas is that they will reset after a limited amount of time. It's about 10-15 minutes. So if you're having trouble getting past one of these bosses and you feel you got to level up a little bit more, but you can't find enemies in the current area, back out, use a waypoint, go into a different area, and you'll see here, we'll travel to this area, and the enemies will be here, spawned, ready to be destroyed by yours truly. Hello. So we unlocked this area a little bit earlier. Boom, there they are. So we can do plenty of damage here. Make sure to dodge, get out of the way. Boom. Okay, so there's a basic mechanics, and then you can use the waypoint or use a town portal. Get right back where you were. Level up, hydrate, very important. And when it comes to loot management, you're going to have to identify a lot of different items. What has helped me is if I have an item in my inventory, I'll just highlight the item and press square, and then I'll use one of these scrolls automatically. Because what gets annoying is if you highlight this and press use, and then you highlight the other item, it's a little monotonous. But if you just go to this specific item, press square, it'll identify there pretty quick. Okay, so there's a basic rundown of what you can expect in the first moments of the game. But let's take a look at the first boss fight, and let's see how I did. Ooh-wee. Oh no. Jeez. Got him. Let's go.
Impressive size, but little acuity.
Just had to dodge that sucker. Yeah. You gotta dodge everything. You gotta dodge everything in this game. Now, if you do die, so far I have not seen a lot of consequences other than you are sent back to the local checkpoint, which if it's a little bit of a run, that's okay. However, I have noticed that if I find a big boss or a very challenging group of mods, I'm going to take a break, hit that town portal, hydrate, come back and fight. But let's take a look at what happens when you die in the game. Oh, first death. Dang. Ouch. Let's take a look at one of my favorite boss fights so far. It's up against the Witch. I'm going to break down what I'm trying to do here. Dodging, obviously, her area attacks. That big stone cold stunner. That cone that comes out. So all these different minions that I'm able to summon, I need to have corpses to do it. So when I kill these different individuals using that cone damage of bones, if I get the last hit with that, it'll spawn those scorpion-like bone minions. Or if you see the green highlighted corpse, it'll spawn the bone crawlers. Those look like skeletons. So keeping my distance away from the witch, dodging when I need to, taking out the minions when I can, using their corpses to summon, and continually doing damage. But what I'm not doing is using my damage over time spell, which I should be using more. So this is the conflict that I feel of. I'm not doing enough damage, and my minions are not surviving long enough, if you will, in order to be much of a threat to the boss, right? So my skill points are too divided, it felt like, which way I want to go down. Now, the strength of having minions fight for you is you can just do damage behind the scenes and staying out of the way of the danger. But if you're not doing enough damage and your minions aren't doing enough damage, the fights are going to last for so long. Luckily enough, I'm not using a whole lot of mana at the moment. So I was trying to find, okay, I'm staying alive. My minions are dying pretty quickly. They're not doing a lot of damage, and I'm not doing a lot of damage. So something has to change. Something has to change here to help improve the time that I'm using to destroy these enemies, you know? And that's one of the things about any action RPG is when you start to experiment and see, oh, what if I change this item, or I change my build, or I focus on these skills, and you start ripping through these enemies, it makes a huge, huge difference. So as a witch, I was thinking of, do I use minions, or do I go with more spell power? And I'm going to show you what happened when I changed up my items and started to do more spell power. This is the heart of the game when you're looking at the different items to purchase from a vendor or what you picked up from the enemies. And that's going to allow you to help focus on the build. As I mentioned, I was too split between minions or spell power. I decided to go more spell power, so I'm experimenting with this new wand that I bought from the vendor to see how much damage I'm going to be doing. Now, I should be using the focus on the offhand, but I'm keeping the skeletal minions just to see what's it like keeping that option to summon, but still do a lot more damage. And compared to previously, I am ripping through these enemies left and right and using a lot more of my damage over time, which will go to the next enemy after they are destroyed. So there you go. Looking a lot better when it comes to the damage that I want to be doing as a witch in the first couple hours of the game. Let's take a look at taking out the Rust King. Oh boy, so I definitely died once or twice against this enemy type, and I'm trying to destroy each of these different minions that are around me and summon their corpses to help be a buffer between me and him. Bone Crawlers help me out here, dodging and weaving to stay away from the danger, and then pushing forward using more of my spell power. I need to be using my damage over time more. That seems to be the only spell really that uses my mana, and I haven't had an issue of running out of mana yet. But there it is, doing a little bit of time as I can dodge and get out of the way. Oh, close dodge there. And dodge again. Summon. No summon, nope. Staying in alignment, knowing where his attack pattern is, and getting that final hit, and boom. There goes the dynamite.
Very dull.
Very loud and very dull indeed. Okay, so you're starting to learn the different strengths and weaknesses of your character class. You're trying to find the better items to better suit your build, to do more damage, to get better items with higher numbers, to do even more damage. That's the name of the game. Where does it get fun? When you can strategize in your mind, okay, if I play just a little bit longer and defeat this boss, let's see what they drop. After they drop a bunch of stuff, let's see what I can either salvage or disenchant, use that money to maybe purchase something else. But now the vendors are limited in the item types that they can sell you, or at least the level of the items they can sell you. What does that mean? You're starting to out-level the area, you're progressing, and you're going to move on to a new area soon. But you can always come back and farm, grind a little bit more, you're struggling with the boss. That's okay. Just go to a different area, go back to the town. You'll see the instance that pops up like 10 to 15 minutes. Go for a new instance. It'll repopulate. And keep trying. Keep trying. I much rather have a difficult experience that I can overcome rather than something that's super easy and you can cruise through. And I think a couple people online have been arguing like, oh, this game is too hard or it's requiring too much up front. It's early access. There could be a couple things that could help polish the initial experience for sure, but I want something difficult. So far, the difficulty level is right on, but I'm a caster, okay? I'm casting spells from afar. I'm sure it's a little bit different for those that are sticking with melee. Let's take a look at the Rotten Druid. This boss was giving me some trouble. I had to find the windows of time to actually attack because he consistently sends out these bolts of damage, especially that big barrage attack. But then there's a couple openings, finding the right windows, casting my damage over time so that that chaos magic is doing the work as I stay out of my own way. Dodging continuously. Trying to cast that spell when he's out of range, that would get a little annoying. Making sure he's in range, in my line of sight, casting it, moving. Staying just out of range of the AoE. That thing always explodes in the center, so please be careful. A couple more dodging. Energy shield is gone. Being really careful. And then holding my ground, going for the spell cast. Boom.
He died in a place he loved, or some such nonsense.
Some such nonsense. Indeed. Indeed. All right, everybody. Well, the music is phenomenal. The sound effects are great. The approach to the game, hold your hand a little bit, but not too much. And if you're a fan of action RPGs, I think this is definitely the way to go, even in early access. So recapping, make sure to talk to the vendors. Pick a path to go down. Experiment a little bit. Don't be afraid to reset if you need to. But take a look at what the items have to offer and try to build towards a singular purpose. More minions, more damage, more melee, more ranged, all that fun stuff. we have barely even scratched the surface, along with a lot of people out there on YouTube and Twitch and other places trying to do all these huge breakdowns of Path of Exile 2. Me, I'm just going to share with you what I'm learning and having fun with and experimenting with and enjoying the game for the journey and the mystery that it is, and then trying to min-max in the future. So I hope you can give yourself that amount of time to have fun, to get lost, to experiment, to try different things. I think that's what the developers intended. Now, I'm really excited to explore more skills, hopefully skills that are going to use more of my mana, because right now it feels like I'm hardly using any mana. And one of the comments that I have seen from some folks is like, it doesn't feel like you find the skills that are really, really useful until a little bit later on in the level up process. And so be it. There's something good to look forward to, and I'd much rather have skills to look forward to than have the basic skill be your best one throughout the entire game. And there's plenty of different areas to explore, more bosses to encounter, and hopefully some better loot. If there was a spectrum of loot dropping, I think it can go up a couple more clicks to class specific, because I've been getting a lot of shields. Okay, a lot of shields have been dropping as loot. I don't use shields as a witch, so maybe we can change that up a little bit. I think that's the only critique so far that I would really hammer down, of like, let's have a little bit more specific loot for the class that I have. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Which class are you choosing to play this game? Have you purchased early access? I'm playing on the PS5. I'm just enjoying playing on console. The only thing that you can't do on console that I found is you can't zoom in. And I really hesitate purchasing any of these beautiful looking cosmetics if I can't zoom in and enjoy it. You know what I mean? So that's another critique I would have for the developers, to add a zoom function on the console version of the game. It's YouTube, folks. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And thanks for joining me. I'll see you online.